So, hi, my name's Matt, and I'll be conducting your interview today. Thanks so much for coming in and for your interest in working with Bryden. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good. So can you tell me a little bit about, we'll open up with this. Can you tell me a little bit about your long-term goals and like what your dream job would be?
Sure. So my dream job would be to be an event coordinator, preferably one of the famous ones like David Duterte or Sharon Sachs, planning the high-profile events.
Okay. Awesome. That's great ambition. So can you tell me a little bit about why you're interested in working with Bryden?
Yeah, so Bryden has a lot of different areas around the country. They have a lot of hotels, and I saw that your program offers a lot of different varieties and experience around the hotel. So you have the catering, which would be my expertise. You have operations, rooms, so you really get a well-rounded experience that I think is important, especially if you want to go into events. You need to know the entire operation of the hotel in order to perform a successful event.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Yeah, we have an RA program. So I'm looking at your resume here, and I see you have a lot of great experience and a very nice looking resume.
Thank you.
I'd like to know if you could just tell me a little bit more about your most recent job experience or your current job if you have one.
Yeah, I currently work over at the Nittany Lion Inn as a banquet server. I've worked there for a little over a year now. Learned a lot there. I learned a lot about not just events, but the hotel as a whole, because you have to work with the kitchen staff, we have to work with AV for setup and electronics. Sometimes we have to work with front desks. A lot of our events will have items that they'll store with us at the front desk, and we'll have to go find those. Sometimes they're lost around the hotel. So we have to work with a lot of different departments in order to put our events on. And I learned a lot about working with the other departments as well as just events in general.
Okay, awesome. That's sweet. How long do you plan on working there? Are you gonna?
I'm probably gonna work there until I graduate, hopefully in May of 2016. It's a really great job. It gets a lot of event coverage, so there's no reason to leave, and I'm actually up for a promotion soon to become a captain of events, so hopefully I'll be there for a while.
Cool, congratulations.
Thank you.
So now a little bit some more specific like core questions. Why should you be hired over the other candidates for this position?
I think that I bring a lot to the table. I have a lot of different experience, as you can see on my resume. I've worked some odd-end jobs, not just in events, but I've worked as a counselor at a day camp. So I've worked with children, I've worked with adults, I've worked events, I've worked being a camp counselor, planning those kind of events. I've worked as a party hostess, as a bowling alley. So I have a lot of well-rounded experience, not just in my work, but also in my leadership experience outside of work. So I've worked on Valley Magazine, I've been involved with Thon, I've been involved within my sorority. So I just have a lot of well-rounded experience. I think I'm a pretty outgoing person.
Yeah.
And I think that I can just bring a lot of personality to the table.
Cool, that's awesome. So can you tell me a little bit about what you consider to be your most significant accomplishment in either a previous job or at school, and what were like your biggest takeaways? What did you learn from the experience?
One of my biggest accomplishments was actually at my first job, which was working at Southampton Day Camp, which is in my hometown. I worked there for 8 years, and I really worked my way up in the ranks and got like the ultimate responsibility. And I was able to plan a week-long event for all the campers that was about 250 people, and it was a week long. So I was planning events for every single day, the entire day, for a large number of people, and that's the ultimate responsibility that you can get there. So that was probably my greatest achievement. It was something that when I was a kid and I was a camper there, I looked up to and I wanted to do, and to see that come to fruition 8 years later was really cool.
That's awesome. So what was like the biggest mistake you've made on the job in the past, and how'd you correct it?
Well, just yesterday actually, my tray jack, when I was putting down our desserts, broke in half, and all of our ice creams fell on the ground. All the guests that were behind me noticed, unfortunately, so I quickly grabbed my front server, we scooped up all the ice cream, we grabbed everyone in the area who was already finished serving theirs, and they got new ones. We had them out within a minute, and we had it all cleaned up in under 3 minutes, which was really incredible that you would have never even noticed that it happened if you hadn't seen it right when it happened. So it was a really good recovery.
Awesome, awesome. So let's discuss the most difficult team that you've had to work with. What made the team particularly challenging, and how did you resolve the conflicts?
We had some difficulties at the inn because it's in a college town. There's a lot of turnover, and they tend to hire people on the fly just without really looking at their qualifications, just because we need so many people because there's so much turnover. So sometimes we have a lot of new people and not as many experienced people, and that can make for a difficult team when you're doing a really large event and you're having to constantly tell people how to do something because they're new. A lot of times we also have students that are international, so there's a language barrier to work through there too. So they may be a new employee and there may be a language barrier, and sometimes that can be really difficult because you're having to do a lot of rework as an experienced employee, and it can make the job go a lot slower. And we've had events where the guests are walking in and we're still struggling to set up just because you have 5 people on an event and that's how many you need, but only 3 of them actually know what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay. So suppose that you're managing a team of 15 employees. How would you make sure that that employee, or that those employees stay motivated and productive?
I like to get feedback. When I worked as a camp counselor and I worked my way up in the ranks, I saw how each job was different and the responsibilities were different, and I got to work with a bunch of different people. And I think it's really important to kind of ask what your employees need from you and what they like and what they don't like. I think getting their feedback is the best way to know how you can improve. And I think that letting them know that their voices are heard and that their needs are heard really helps them to stay motivated because they think that they have a hand in this as well. And I think it makes them want to do better and be more loyal employees.
Awesome, great. So, could you tell me about the time that you had, or can you tell me about the best supervisor that you've ever had, and what made the supervisor particularly good, like say skill-wise, and what kind of skills would you take from them and apply to yourself in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I have a really great supervisor actually at the inn. Her name is Krista, and she is always willing to help. She has a really great way of talking to employees. She doesn't talk down to you. She talks with you. You're having a conversation. She does exactly what I was saying earlier, that she makes you feel like your voice is heard. So if you're telling her that something isn't going smoothly, this process isn't working, she takes it to heart and really tries to help you fix it. And a lot of the times when we have had these issues with employees that are new and we're having trouble communicating with them, she can be a really great person to kind of smooth that communication, and I think that that makes her a really great manager.
That's awesome, yeah. So what would you consider to be your greatest weakness and your greatest strength?
My greatest weakness by far is the fact that I am terrible at delegating. I've been one of those people that have gotten stuck in group projects over the years where I'm the person that does all the work and nobody else seems to get their part done. So now I tend to automatically just take leadership and do most of the work on my own, and it provides a lot of stress, which is unneeded, so I have to learn to delegate more. But my best quality, I think, would have to be, I think I'm a pretty good communicator. I think if I think that something's not right, I will tell you. It doesn't help when you keep those things bottled up inside, because you're not going to help the company and you're not going to help make these processes better. If you see that something can be improved, even if they don't fix it, it doesn't hurt to let your voice be heard. And I think I'm a good communicator in both that way and also in positive ways as well. That if you're doing a really good job, I'll let you know it, and I think that that's really important for a manager.
Yeah. All right, well, that concludes our interview today. Do you have any more questions for me?
I would just like to know, what are you guys looking for in your management positions?
We are looking for bright, we are looking for hardworking people that would love to come, that can work with great teams, because we put a lot of emphasis on building our team skills as well as our management skills individually. Mm-hmm. And we want people who are great with working with teams and would love to just grow the operation of the company.
That's great, yeah. I think that's really important.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure meeting you as
well. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.